Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Saturday, July 19th, and we are waiting for the house guests to do their Power of Veto player pick. So I talked to you yesterday afternoon, late morning, before the actual nomination. So apologies for kind of a bit of dead air. I actually recorded something last night, and then I decided not to post it because I went way down too many rabbit holes. So again, apologies. Let me get you caught up. Jimmy made his nominations. He nominated Adrian, who was supposed to be a pawn. He nominated Kelly, and he nominated Keanu. His target is Keanu. His attitude is, well, if it has to be Kelly, it'll have to be Kelly. He also, early on, had said that his backup nominee, if somebody gets taken off the block with power veto, would be Riley. But then he later changed that to Amy last night. So there's all the kind of inner workings that went on with that. The other items would be the powers that were won with the during the head of household competition. And a bit more clarification. I'm not sure what I knew yesterday at noon as far as what I was telling people, but we do know that Kelly, Mickey, and Keanu have won the powers. Kelly's power, it turns out that, again, Jimmy had described it. He sat down. Apparently, the head of household competition was all one big free-for-all kind of a thing where they were running around in a dark room looking for things, trying to find things. And I think I may have mentioned, someone said that Jimmy found this head of household thing and was wanting to give it to Rachel, but it didn't happen. So it just kind of tells you the fact that he was willing to do that, and apparently so blatantly that people knew it. Tells you a little bit about that relationship for now, at least to start. So Jimmy, when he was sitting, once he was done, he was sitting down and he sat next to something, or Kelly put it next to him or something, but he figured out that he felt it was power veto shaped. So he thinks that Kelly's thing has to do with the power veto, and that she has something. Kelly has told enough people that she has the power veto power, this power that she has, that people generally know it. The same with Keanu. It is leaked out there. He's told people who have told people. Not everybody knows, but enough people know. And then finally, I was really happy to hear that Mickey had only told Morgan. And Mickey had only told Morgan. But in the telling, at least one of the tellings or discussions, Ashley overheard Morgan telling, or kept Mickey telling Morgan. And then Ashley went and told Amy. And I think Amy told Zach. I'm not sure, but it's out there, right? It is now out there too that Mickey has some kind of a special power. Now, it is what it is. There's no fixing it. If you tell people you have a power, chances are it's going to get around, right? I kudos to Mickey for trying to keep it quiet, but Ashley let the cat out of the bag. Morgan was not telling people. The powers themselves, again, as far as what we understand them in the house guests telling of them, is Keanu's power is that he gets double the chance at the power veto today. So he'll have some kind of thing that will double his odds of winning the power veto. Whether he gets, as I described it yesterday, if he gets two balls instead of one ball, or if he gets to try something twice, just don't know what it is. But his odds of winning the power veto are double. It doesn't mean that there are two power vetoes for grabs for him. It just means that he has a better shot than anybody else in theory of winning the power veto. All right. That is Keanu's power, which he, by the way, last night informed Big Brother that he intended to use today. So that will be in play today. We also have Kelly's power. Kelly's power, a little bit different. It is an individual PoV competition just for her. I think the way it will work is that Kelly will have the opportunity after today's power veto, even if she wins or doesn't win it, she has the opportunity to win another power of veto. She described it to Adrian in that it sounded like she could win today's power veto competition, the regular one, and she could also do this extra competition and win a second power veto. So she'd have two options. She could save herself and save someone else, or she could save two other people, whatever it is. Again, she was getting extra clarification last night. I haven't heard her tell anybody if she got that clarification or if she even intends to use it. I really think she won't even think about it fully until after today's power veto competition. Lastly is Mickey's power, which at this point, Mickey's power, I believe, is not going to happen this week. She would have had to have used it, I think, before nominations today or yesterday. Her power is to take over the head of household. I think basically nullify the head of household's nominations and make her own anonymously. In theory, the head of household that's being taken over would have 3 minutes to identify that person. The problem now is because Mickey has told people, word's getting around, people will know that Mickey has a power. They're going to guess Mickey. So I think her power is kind of nullified at this point, sadly for Mickey, unless it is someone who has the head of household that hasn't gotten word that she has a power. I'm going to guess that the odds are high that Mickey will get singled out as having a power. There's been some confusion in the house about what Keanu's power exactly is. That's just noise to me. I mean, we know what it is. I'm not going to worry about that as far as the house goes. They know he has a power, and that's really the bigger thing. So what else is going on? Have-nots, I did tell you. Rachel volunteered. She's probably going to keep it up the whole time. Amy and who's the last one? Mickey, because Mickey's having digestive issues with the slop. There was a video out there of someone, I guess of Mickey passing some gas in the middle of a conversation with Morgan. She's blaming the slop. Let me think. Anything else to touch on? Today, power veto competition. The house guests are up as I am recording this. It is just about 9 a.m. They got up about 8, I think, but they will have to go through the process. And I'm going to be honest with you folks, I don't remember what the process is now with the 3 nominees and 1 head of household. I think, if I remember, Jimmy will pull the chips because you've got 4 people up there instead of 3, right? It used to be you'd have 3 people, they would pick 3 people. Now it is 4 people, and I think Jimmy pulls out the chips because you can't have 2 out of the 3 nominees, and the chips are naming the names. I don't even know if it's a house guest choice. That's the thing. I don't remember what all the chips say anymore. I thought about this and I almost wrote it out on a post on Blue Sky. Why did 6 become the magic number of POV players? It was basically because you had the head of household and 2 nominees and they each got to pick a person. But now we don't have that anymore. And they didn't go to 7, they didn't go to 8 players. Of course they didn't, because they don't want to take up the time and add to the time of the power veto. But the picking is a bit odd. So we'll see what happens. We'll see who's nominated or who wins the chance or who gets the chance to play for the power veto. And I will probably do a podcast later tonight. Definitely, if not tonight, then I'll do one tomorrow, letting you know who won the power veto, where things stands, what's going on, any major developments. But all in all, we're off to a solid start. They did have a round table little family dinner, get to know you, say your favorite thing about each other, kind of a lovey-dovey post, which some of us were like, we don't care. But in it, and they cut it off, Rachel started talking about how this is her favorite family. This is her favorite Big Brother family because she feels accepted by them and she feels, what's the term? Valued, justified, like heard. She said no one would ever listen to her in her other houses, so she feels closest to this house. Of course she does. Why wouldn't she say that? She may honestly, in the end, when she comes out of the show, say she truly meant it, if anyone asks her, but I don't buy it. I think this is all game playing. She has, granted, maybe she's reflecting on her time in the house, but she has gotten fairly close with former players that she's played with. And to kind of throw them under the bus and say, I like you guys best of all, I think that's total gamesmanship. And I think she would tell the people that she played with before that she has been close to since the show. She was like, well, I only meant it in the house sense. Or, I was just playing a game. And it was interesting. But they also cut the feeds when she started doing it, even though they let everybody else talk, which was quite annoying. So it probably means that they're going to show it on the show on, I don't know, maybe Sunday. Remember, we don't know when they're going to show. Some of these things don't have to be. That is a total thing that can be shown at any point between now and when they decide to air it, as long as they creatively edit out anybody who's left the house. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to cover in bits and pieces. I don't have my cast list printed out with me. It's in my car, and I am not in my car at the moment. I'm riding next to Mrs. BB Gossip, who's listening to a book on tape, I think. Yep, she didn't even react to me saying any of that, so she's not listening to me talk to myself. The other things that are going on in the house, they're just the regular stuff. I mean, there was a very moving little monologue by Adrian about his family, and I'm going to win it for you, Mom. And I'm not making light of it. It was. I actually recorded it and played it on posted it on Blue Sky, the whole thing. And it may or may not make TV, right? There are things that I think will make TV that just, they don't have time for it, and they end up not making it. So that's the great thing about the live feeds, which are free if you're on Pluto TV. And on Paramount Plus, we still don't have flashback, but there are ways to get things. Some of us have ways, or lucky enough to have ways to go back and grab stuff. So if by chance there is something that you've heard about that happened that you haven't seen, that you're desperate to know, let me know. I can probably find it and post it, or direct you to wherever it's at, right? That's the other option. There's a lot of people posting video clips out there, and at least on Blue Sky, nobody's taking them down. I don't think they're taking them down on Twitter either, but I'm not over yonder on Twitter checking things out. We've got a really good, solid community on Blue Sky, keeping things up to date, and so it's been great so far. Okay, so I talked about the family dinner. Another thing I watched was a discussion in the head of household room, where Jimmy and maybe Rachel were kind of quizzing Catherine on Riley, because Riley, bull riding Riley, has a crush on Catherine. And Catherine basically said as much as, he's a nice guy. Like, there's no interest. She said, I'm sure he likes me, but who doesn't like me? And she was saying it in kind of a silly way, but her gist was, I'm not going to badmouth Riley, but there's nothing there for her. I also did see that maybe Morgan has a crush on Zach, but we know Zach has a crush on Lauren. Lauren does not have a crush on Zach, at least for now, she says. She's not interested. So there's no showmances going on. Kelly is I think Kelly has a boyfriend, so I'm not implying anything here, but I think Kelly's been very huggy and just wanting to bond with some of the guys, but again, not in anything other than a team way. Kelly is seen as the loose cannon in the house right now by a lot of people. She's wanted to be Tucker in some ways. She's not Tucker, but she's wanting to act like Tucker in some of his disruptive ways in the house. And frankly, I guess it got Tucker's attention. I saw on Blue Sky that on Tucker's live, whatever he was doing, Instagram live or something, he actually was cheering on Kelly for winning the first Blockbuster competition. So he kind of gave Kelly a shout out. So someone was pointing that out. So good for Kelly. I liked Kelly. I didn't know much about Kelly in the preseason interviews. I liked her after the interviews, and in the house, I think she's a bit too reckless. But she's probably not a bad person to have as an ally. I think she's not a good person to have as an enemy if she ever gets any kind of powers that she can do damage with, for sure. She has stated that she's reverting to her high school self, where she was quite an instigator. I may have said that yesterday. All right, any other thoughts? There were some moments that I also posted along three video posts, so about 8 or 9 minutes worth of talking between Catherine and Vinny in the storage room, where they were talking about Ashley for the most part, and how Ashley is driving everyone in the house crazy. One of the things that Catherine said is that Ashley didn't know where the dishes went because she's never put away a dish so far. And she's just inconsiderate. Vinny said he was going to go do some laundry, and Ashley kind of dashed ahead of him and kind of beat him to it after he mentioned it, and he was annoyed with that. Other house dynamics. This is again where I don't have my list of things. Will is a non-factor at this point. He's not being talked about. He's around. He did have a moment yesterday where he told the girls, or maybe this was Friday night. No, this was yesterday, or late Thursday night, where he admitted, I voted wrong. I should have voted with you guys, and I won't do that again. Kind of like, we told you how to vote, Will. We told you. And he's like, yeah, I voted wrong. So Will, he's fine. He's not, again, I don't see him as a competitor. I see him as along for the ride. Now, maybe he's going to turn it up, but it's just the nature of being being an older person in the house where you're the only older person. I mean, he's 7 years older than Rachel, I guess. I think Rachel is 43, he's 50. So, and then Amy is 40, and then you get into the 30s for the rest of them. So he's at the far end of the spectrum, and versus the youngest, who is Lauren, who's just a year younger than maybe Catherine or somebody. So there's a big gap for Will to be way out there at the end of the timeline of people in the house. But he's not doing anything to annoy anyone, but I also don't think he's necessarily doing anything to make people think he's anything more than a third person to bring along to the end, which is where he may end up being. And hey, if that's what you can do, if you can pull it off, great. Other thoughts. I am winding down. Yeah, I think that's about it for now. If I come up with more stuff, I will definitely try to include it in my next podcast. Again, maybe later tonight. If not tonight, then tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Thank you for supporting. And we'll talk to you guys again later tonight or Sunday. Be well, everybody. Bye-bye.